Alrighty, welcome back. So, last time we really dug into how to craft that perfect opening line. The overture for working with an AI. But what happens when you need more than that? When you're not just writing a melody, you're trying to compose a whole symphony. Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. Let's figure out how to build something truly complex and harmonious with our AI partner. And this quote from the chapter, man, it just nails the whole challenge, doesn't it? A great start is, well, great. But for those really ambitious projects, it's just that, a start. To create a real masterpiece, you need layers, you need development, you need a way to build towards a grand finale. And that really is the big question. How do we get from one brilliant little spark of a prompt to a final product that's robust, polished, and just works? Turns out there's a method to the madness, and it actually has a lot in common with composing music. To really get why one single prompt, even a fantastic one, has its limits, let's look at what happens when things get complicated. When you try to cram everything into one request, you can run into some serious trouble, as our author found out the hard way. So, picture this. Our author is working on this super cool idea for a text-based adventure game. It's set in this mythical, ancient library. The whole vibe is mystery and forgotten lore. Sounds awesome, right? He started out with a really strong, focused prompt. And you know what? It totally worked. The AI, playing its role perfectly, generated this amazing opening room, a dust-choked scriptorium. It had interactive objects, a little puzzle. The tone was spot on. That first note was a huge success. But then, he tried to add more, a lot more. He wanted conditional logic, items that would work between different rooms, secret passages, all the deep, complex stuff that really makes a game great. So he crammed it all into one massive follow-up prompt. And the AI, well, it just buckled under the weight of it all. The logic got completely twisted, conditions were just ignored, and that beautiful poetic style, it just evaporated. Yeah, he was expecting this incredible masterpiece, but what he got was just noise. A total cacophony. It was like he'd asked the lead violinist to suddenly start playing the drums and the tuba all at the same time. The initial harmony was completely drowned out, and it's the perfect example of what happens when you dump too much complexity on an AI all at once. So, if that single monster prompt is a recipe for disaster, what's the alternative? The solution is a really cool technique the author calls crescendo prompting, and it's all about building complexity one manageable layer at a time, just like a composer builds a piece of music. Now, the key word here you'd gotta notice is guide. You're not just barking orders at the AI. You're guiding it step by step through the whole process. It's this back and forth of building and refining, and that's how you turn a simple little melody into a rich, full-blown composition. And the whole method breaks down into these three beautifully simple, musically themed layers. First up, you lay down the melody. That's the core idea, super simple. Next, you add the harmony. This is where you layer in new features and all the complexity. And finally, you apply the polish, just fine-tuning everything until it really shines. Simple, complex, polish. Let's see how it works in the real world. Okay, so let's walk through a super practical example. We're going to create a simple command line tool for managing tasks, and we'll call it TaskMaster. We're going to build this thing piece by piece using our three layers. First up, the melody. Remember conceptual scaffolding from the last chapter? We're going to use that to create a persona, Structo, an expert in command line tools. Then we ask for just the absolute bare bones basics, a way to add a task and a way to see the list. That's it. We're keeping it simple to build a really solid foundation. Now, let's add the harmony. We take what Structo gave us and we ask for more. Let's add the ability to mark tasks as complete and to remove them entirely. And we also start thinking about what happens when things go wrong, like adding some error handling. We're layering that complexity right on top of the solid base we already built. And finally, the polish. This is where we ask Structo to add constraints, like a character limit for tasks, just to keep things tidy. We improve the user experience with better formatting, and we even add comments about how data persistence would work, making the whole design conceptually complete. These are those little final touches that make the utility feel professional and really robust. And just look at the difference. We didn't try to get this done in one shot. By guiding Structo through our three layers, melody, harmony, and polish, we co-created something that's really thoughtful and well-designed.
It's so much better than anything we could have gotten from one single overloaded prompt.
Okay, but let's be real. It doesn't always go that smoothly. Sometimes your crescendo can go a little, well, off key. So, what do you do when the AI starts to lose the plot in the middle of this whole layered process?
These fixes are actually super practical. So if the AI starts to get amnesia and forgets its persona, you just give it a gentle reminder. Okay, Structo, let's keep going. If your logic gets all tangled up, you might be trying to add too many rules too early. So keep your first prompts simple and save those strict constraints for the polish phase. And if your refinements just aren't hitting the mark, get more specific. Don't just say, make it better. Tell the AI exactly which part you want to change and what you want it to do. So let's bring this all home. This whole method of harmonic prompting, this crescendo, is a really powerful way to go from a simple idea to a complex, finished product. Now let's boil this all down into the key lessons you can walk away with. Here's the bottom line. For any big, complex project, you have to think in layers. Start simple, build up the complexity, and then polish it at the end. Your job is to be the conductor, to guide the AI by keeping the context clear and being super specific. And maybe most important of all, be patient. You got to think of it more like a collaborative dance, not a dictation. I just love this final piece of wisdom from the chapter. Real craftsmanship takes time, you know? Even with these incredibly powerful AI partners, you have to guide it, not rush it. And if you do that, you'll be blown away by the harmonies you can create together. And that's the question I want to leave you with. Now that you have this method of building layer by layer, of going from a simple melody to a grand, polished piece, what incredible, complex, beautiful things are you going to create? What symphony will you compose?